How I ended up with chronic tinnitus, it's a long story. Chronic, it means it's built up, over years of maladaptive habits, you know, stuff that you do, you know, coping mechanisms that are unhealthy, diet that is unhealthy, lifestyle that is unhealthy, for a few years, and then suddenly, something hits you, like tinnitus or a stomach ulcer or, you know, many different chronic conditions can happen as a result of maladaptive habits over a long period of time. So this is chronic tinnitus. We're not talking about any of the could-bes. Could be the blocked eustachian tubes, could be, can be because of built up wax, too much wax in the ear. It can be because of TMJ issues, some nerves that get stuck in some of the jaw joints, and all these other ENT or any of these things, non-chronic tinnitus as a result of some like acute thing. But in the case of chronic tinnitus, that's come about because of maladaptive diet or behavioral patterns, drugs, or maybe even something like doing energy work the wrong way, qigong, or some kundalini work or something where you've built up a lot of vata, Vedic wind, or in just simple scientific terms, just the nerve impulses have the nervous system's just gone up too much. You've over-regulated the nervous system, and then it's come to the auditory cortex in the brain, and the gain has been up-regulated. But it's all, even that is basically, I would say, is a maladaptive. It's under the maladaptive category. Doing qigong or yoga incorrectly would be the same. But at any rate, it's a nerve problem. Nerves, okay? The nerves, we have to understand. We can use an analogy. It's not a perfect analogy, but basically like wires, they have a conductive inner core surrounded by a insulating material that keeps the electricity inside and sealed, and the nerves in the body, they have the myelin sheaths around, which are apparently they're made of one of the it's all backwards because I've got it backwards, but they're made of largely B12, right? B12 is on there somewhere. It's backwards because I'm using the front camera. But yeah, apparently the myelin sheaths on the nerves are largely made of B12, vitamin B12. So, and if that comes off, then what happens is the wire sparks, and then that can create the energy in the nerves is no longer going through, is not being contained by the insulating myelin sheath, and then you get stray electrical currents, buzzing around, causing the sound and the order, that you hear, this. In my case, it still is a few different sounds that I'm hearing, and if there is not enough magnesium It's backwards. But if there's not enough magnesium, then because the brain needs magnesium to put the brake pedal on the glutamate, or the, what is it, the stress hormone, which, you know, if you get stressed, or you know, you're listening to your tinnitus and you're getting stressed out about it, it's going to go up because there's not enough magnesium to put the brakes on it. So you need to magnesium. And what else? The inner ear is a very high concentration of zinc, and if there's not enough, you know, zinc, then the inner ear, the cochlea, I think also it's a part of the auditory cortex. It can't repair itself quick enough. And yeah, what else is we need some K2, and vitamin D3, which is a neurosteroid. Okay, neurosteroid helps the brain. And also we need omega 3s. Okay, so there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different supplements there that I'm taking at the same time as using this device. This is one of them I'm using for treatment, and you can see I've got it on the nerve disorders settings, and that's been a very useful one. Now it's doing the quantum entanglement, or through hyperspace, or how can you say, the remotes. Put my fingernails in those remotes, and it sets up a condition where the waveform collapses through the Planck, good old Max Planck space, and then through hyperspace to my DNA. Or I can use the ear, but that's a very low power way, but so that still works. But or I can use the earpiece, this one, which is the ear laser. So it sends the same frequencies, the nerve disorder frequencies, which are the frequencies that Royal Raymond Rife and his successing case studies, and people that worked all those frequencies out over many case studies. These are a bunch of frequencies that specifically target the nerve disorders, so they stimulate the nerves to regrow. So I'm just taking these supplements here, so that as these nerves are regrowing, then there is a way that they can have a surplus raw material that the nerves need to repair. I'm not using the TENS pads though. I was using the oopsie, everything's in a bird's nest, but I was using these TENS pads to deliver the frequencies via electricity to my to my skin. But according to someone who's treating me right now, practitioner, TCM and Vedic, TCM, acupuncture, and also yoga, and he does herbs and stuff as well. He's very knowledgeable, a lot of experience. But he said, probably better not to use the TENS pads, because this is a vata problem, nerve energy problem, that you don't want to stimulate the electricity in the body too much. So yeah, not using the TENS pads anymore for that. But yeah, so feel pretty relaxed now about this way to overcome the chronic tinnitus and get back to normal. Yeah, feeling more relaxed. You know, I was quite hesitant and putting off on making a sort of a recovery video. You know, I didn't want to jump the gun, didn't want to speak too soon, you know, because I didn't feel confident that I understood what was wrong with me and how to fix it properly, you know, because I went through a lot of too much how can I say, lost hope, you know, where I would the medical system, they just don't have a solid. Firstly, they don't they don't know how to distinguish properly between, you know, these just acute tinnitus causes like wax buildup or, you know, eustachian tube buildup of fluid in the eustachian tubes, or, you know, the TMJ, or these things, you know, those acute ones, and the chronic cause. They didn't. So, you know, I already had like two doctors, my GP, and then also I went to a proper ENT clinic, a proper hearing clinic, and both of them misdiagnosed it. They both said, oh, it's basically just, you know, my eustachian tubes, and, you know, here, take some stuff to clear that, and then it'll go away. And that never happened. And that was like, you know, 6-7 months ago, and they were like, oh, just give it 2 weeks. So, you know, and they have all this technology, they have all these big machines and things, but they don't have anything that can even properly see what the problem is. So, but now, after, you know, a lot of trial and error, and buying this Spooky 2 and learning how to use it, and then, you know, figuring out the right, just becoming aware of the right supplements to take at the same time, which was actually a couple of AI generated videos that came up on my feed that you know, explained about this analogy with the wire, that basically what's going on is just that the insulating sheaths have come off the wire from, you know, because of the maladaptive lifestyle conditions, or, you know, doing, you know, getting high and doing qigong, or smoking weed and doing, you know, qigong or yoga, and overstimulating the nervous system, and too much vata, Vedic wind, probably what it was, going through the nerves, and then the insulating thing coming off, and then that happening. But so now I can feel this treatment method that I'm doing here. It's working very gradually, and as I say, I was feeling very hesitant to make a sort of a recovery video, because I haven't fully recovered yet from this. Still like all these different things, sounds, and a little bit difficult to sleep. Still taking a bit of melatonin now and then. I'm still going to the acupuncture, you know, once or twice a week. I'm still taking some Chinese herbs as well to help to bring the chi down, you know, the activity, or whatever you want to call it, to bring it down. And so been a long road to recovery, but at least there is a way to recover. I can feel now that it's coming down. It's probably going to take, hopefully by the end of this year, you know, it'll be completely gone, you know. But hope this was useful, and you know, when those people out there is going to say, going to use a kind of a not nice way to call them, but some things that they say is just not very nice, you know, when they leave comments on these type of videos, and they say stuff like, you know, if there's ringing in your ears, it means that there's ringing in your ears, and, you know, nothing will ever change. they say things like this, and they don't know what it's like, and they don't really care about people recovering. They just have some sick sense of humor over people's suffering, So, but that's okay. They themselves must be suffering somehow if they have the whatever it is that's motivating them to say those kind of things, or certain parts of the medical system just don't help. You go into you go somewhere about your chronic tinnitus, and you go to your GP, and they just say, they don't actually, they'll just say, okay. They'll understand that it's making you feel depressed and anxious, and then they'll say, we can help you out with a therapist, or give you someone to talk to. It's like those. I think there was a TED Talks video where some tinnitus expert said, we see in tinnitus people that when we do a brain scan on them, we see the depression parts of the brain light up and the anxiety parts of the brain light up. So, and chronic tinnitus must have something to do with anxiety. Well, duh. It's because of the tinnitus that you become anxious. If you put a speaker in any human being's ear and you say they're not allowed to remove it, and it's constantly going, and they can't sleep for how they can't sleep, and it's constantly there, and you can't turn it off, of course you're going to get depressed and anxious and whatever. So yeah, hopefully we can now have a way to properly cure this condition.